The first thing that we looked at was basically dealing with our basically creating a company profile. Though I told you that all those details that you had keyed in, you can edit them later. Like for instance, you can see here you don't have your company logo. So just in case you don't have your company logo, you can always add your logo here. Remember, this logo will always be displayed in your documents. That is your receipts that you print. Talk about your invoices that you will print and send to your customers, and other documents. Talk about your purchase orders, your sales orders, and all those other documents that you will be creating. If you look at QuickBooks Online interface, it's a little bit different from the QuickBooks Desktop interface, but QuickBooks Online is very, very easy to deal with, though QuickBooks Desktop is also very, very much easy to deal with. So if you look at this, first of all, there is a difference in terms of number one, you will not see what is called the banking part. You will not see the banking part. And number two, you will not see the customer's part. Number three, there is no supplier's part. So I think those are the main things that are missing here. And also the lists is also not available. Lists is also not available. But anyway, we'll look at how we can go through. So if you have gone through QuickBooks Desktop, then I can promise you that going through QuickBooks Online will not be a challenge. It will not be a challenge. Over here, we have shortcuts. We have shortcuts for your transactions. If you want to create an invoice, you can simply come to this shortcut. If you want to record an expense, you can access it through here. Add a bank deposit, create a check, and of course, there are more. So you can check on more here. So these are your shortcuts, your transaction shortcuts that are available here. All right. You can create an invoice, record expenses, add bank deposit, create a check, create an invoice, add bank deposit. Of course, these are what we have the other side. So just in case you want to add something here, then you can use these shortcuts here. So these ones are for money in. These transactions relate to money in, and then these transactions over here relate to money out. So what takes money out of your business? We have expenses. When you create a check, of course, it means that you are paying somebody. When you create a bill, you need to pay somebody, of course, and then you can pay bills. You can add a supplier, add an employee, and add time entry. Now, you will notice that here we have two things. Number one, we have this expense, and number two, we have a bill. Number one, you are being told to record an expense, and then number two, you are also being told to enter a bill.
Excuse me, Mwalimu.
Yes.
Where have you gone to display that window?
The
shortcut.
Yeah, Samuel, if you're using your work QuickBooks Online account, it's okay because it's just one and the same. They're just one and the same, so it's okay. Only that I believe you'll not be able to do the practice because of what we are doing here is the dummy thing. But yours, I think, if it's a work account, then I believe that it's something that is a real one. So that's where you'll have the difference. But you can follow through. It's the same. So somebody's asking where I went to. From your dashboard,
yes.
You can see shortcuts.
Yes.
Then I went to show all.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So here you have the transactions that bring in money to your business. All right. And what brings in money to your business is when you create an invoice, you are sending it to a customer so that they can pay you. When you add a bank deposit, that's a cash inflow. When you create an estimate, you make an assumption that you are going to win the estimate, and at the end of the day, money will come into your business from your customer. Of course, your customer will be convinced from your estimate, and they'll be able to pay you. So money will come in. When you record a payment, that's a receipt. When you record a payment, that's a receipt. So of course, again, money will come in. That's your customers paying you. Same to creating a sales receipt. Adding a customer, add product or service, and of course, creating invoice. So just in case you are confused and you don't know where to go, kindly mute your mics. Please mute your mics. So just in case you are confused, once you log into QuickBooks Online and you don't know where to go, please always come back to your dashboard. Always come back to your dashboard and be home. Always come back to your dashboard and be home. Always come back to your dashboard and be home. And here you will see a list of shortcuts. Come and say show all, and then of course from here you can do anything that you want. So don't get confused. Don't fail to do a transaction because you cannot navigate through what is required. If you go for an interview, you are tested on this. Please don't fail the interview. Simply navigate to your dashboard, be home, and you can be able to pick the directions here. So make sure that you get to archives. This is your archives. When you are fresh in Nairobi, make sure that you get to archives, and then you can pick the directions going to your home from here, or the directions going to wherever you want to go, right? So that is simply how you can be able to navigate through. But anyway, we still have a lot of things to go through here. So we'll just, of course, go through them very quickly because we have done everything. We've done everything, so we'll go through very quickly. Now, number one is transactions. Number one is transactions. Number one is transactions. Number one is transactions. So from transactions here, you can be able to access bank transactions. You can do reconciliation. You can set rules. And then we have the chart of accounts from there. And then we also have the recurring transactions. So from the transactions menu, this is the only thing that you can access. You can access the bank transaction. If you want to do reconciliation, if you want to set up rules, the chart of accounts is here. And if you also want to view your recurring transactions, they are available under transactions. If you want to key in your customers and suppliers, this is a little bit different from what we covered in QuickBooks Desktop. In online, you will have to know what is related to this. Remember that in the desktop version, customers was the main tab here. I hope you can remember that. Customers was the main tab. But when we now come to QuickBooks Online, sales is the main tab here. So under sales, we'll access two things. Number one is customers, and number two, products and services. What does that mean? If you want to enter your list of customers, you will come to sales and then go to customers. If you want to enter a list of products and services that you offer, you will come to sales and then go to products and services. For example, if I come to sales, I come to customers. I'll be able to click this. I'll be able to click on customers. I'll be able to click on customers. I will be able to click on customers. From customers, I have no customers right now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in QuickBooks Online, it is very, very easy. I think I told you that in the desktop version, it may pose a challenge, but it's in the online version, it's very easy for you to import a list of your A list of your customers into QuickBooks Online. Sorry. What you need to do over here, you can import a list of your customers from an Excel file if you have them, or alternatively, you can add your customers manually. Let's go through importing your customers because this is important. I'll click on import customers. Import customers. That lands me here. There are three activities that I need to do. Number one, I'm supposed to upload a list of my customers. Number two, I'm supposed to map the data that I'm bringing in. That is to ensure that it matches the template that has been provided and it matches what QuickBooks requires. And number three, I can import, or rather I need to import the final list that I have mapped. Select a CSV or Excel file to upload. Browse. You'll check it from your storage, wherever you've stored it. Anyway, you can download a sample file that can help you to key in the details of your customers. Let's say I download a sample file. We've opened your file. We've opened your file for quick and easy viewing right in Microsoft. All right, this is mine. This is mine in Edge. Choose download if you want to use it later. All right, so I don't want to use it later. So mine, I can just use it here in Edge. So for those who are using Edge, I believe you also got the advantage. For those who are using other browsers, please confirm that you have downloaded your sample file. That is the sample customer list file, and that you are okay. Are we together to there? Have you managed to download? Have you managed to download? Have you managed to download?
Yes.
Very good. The other people, have we all managed to download the sample file? Very good. Thank you, Valerie. Very good. So only Valerie and Emma have downloaded. What about the rest? What are we doing? What are we doing? Thank you, Mercy. Very good. All right. Good. Thank you, Frederick. Mercy, good. Thank you, Atwa. Very good. So we can now proceed. While some money is here, so I will use it here. Now, note that whatever you have here, there is a note here that all data is for sample purposes only. That note is very, very important. So we have sheet 2 here and sheet 3. Well, let's use sheet 1. So from sheet 1, this is the format. So if you need to import a list of your customers into QuickBooks Online, this is the format that your file should take. The first column, you should have the name, followed by the company, followed by the customer type. What's the type of your customer? The email of your customer, the phone number of your customer, mobile number, fax, the website. We have the street, the city, province, postal code, country, opening balance, date, and then the tax registration number. Remember, the date here is as at when the opening balance was keyed in. The date is the date of your opening balance. Now, you may be wondering, where are you going to get all this information? Please note, if you do not have all this information, only key in the relevant ones. But what do? You just have the fields defined, but you only key in the relevant fields that you have. For example, delete all this information, delete all this information, delete all this information, delete all that information, delete all this information. Oh, I have to export mine now. All right. Let me edit a copy. Okay. Let me just download it. So I'm going to open the file. Now it has decided to take forever. All right. So it's okay now. Now, this is the file that you'll have. Of course, I believe that somebody has keyed in their details. I believe that you've keyed in your details. So I'll just delete this. Then once I delete it, now you can enter your own. Please don't delete the titles because the titles are the one that are guiding you. The title is guiding you. So let's say, for instance, my first customer here is Emma. So I'm just going to key in the details. So this is Emma Njuguna. I don't know if that's your name. I've given you that. The company, Emma Njuguna. All right. Customer type, I don't have the type. Email, emma@emma.com. Phone number, if you have it, you'll key it in. The mobile number, fax, website, street, city. So I can key in the city. This is Nairobi. All right. And then we have the province, the postal code, the country, opening balance, the date, and then the tax registration number. So I don't have all those other details. So I'll leave it as at where it is so that I can continue to the next thing. So my next customer here, say for instance, this is Emily. Chebet. All right, Emily will take that name today. Company name is Emily Chebet. All right, customer type. So I don't have all those other details. So that's okay. That's okay to that point. That's okay to there. That's okay to there. All right. So from here, make sure that you delete this. Make sure that you delete this row, which says that all data is for sample purposes only. All data is for sample purposes only. Make sure that you delete that. Somebody who knows Excel will not come here, right click. You will not come here, right click, and then say delete. No. If you know Excel very well, you'll just highlight the column and do what here? Control minus. You'll just highlight the column and then control minus to delete it. So once you have defined this, then remember the format that you're supposed to save your file. Which format are you supposed to save your file in? That was defined here. You need to save it in form of a CSV. So let's save it as a CSV. Let's save it as a CSV. So you'll go over to File. We'll go to File, Save As. We'll go to File, Save As. Let me save it on my desktop for ease of access. So I can just retain everything as it is. I can just retain everything that it is because it came in form of this file from the very first time. So I'm just going to retain everything as it is. Then I say save. I'm not going to change anything. All right. So from here, I now come back to QuickBooks. Yes.
You didn't save it as CSV? Oh.
Just retain the format that came in with QuickBooks, because that's a sample that you've downloaded from QuickBooks. So it means that the sample is still compatible with what is in the system. So just retain it.
Okay.
All right. So from here, I'm going to browse my storage so that I can be able to upload the document. Of course, I saved it on my desktop. So I will access my desktop. I hope it should be this QuickBooks Customers Online. I'll select that. I say open. I'll select that. And then I say open. So you can see the file is here. The file is here. So I want us to proceed. Are we all there? Are we all there?
Yes.
CP Ogara is resting. Ogara, why are you resting? In fact, Ogara has left. He has gone to rest. All right. Good. So from here, you simply say next. 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 So if you look at this, this is basically the mapping. This is the mapping that we were talking about. This is the mapping that we were talking about. So the first thing here is this is the QuickBooks Online field, and then this is your field that you have defined. So this is what you cross-check. Whatever is ticked here is the information that you have provided. Whatever is ticked is the information that you have provided. Whatever is not ticked, you have not provided that information. All right. Whatever is not ticked, you haven't provided that information. So the first thing you are required to do is to key in the company name, and your field matches the name. Company, your field matches the company. So just in case this is supposed to be company and your field here is email, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to come to the drop down and then change so that it matches this. All right. So that's how you're supposed to go about it. That is the mapping that you are being told about. Basically, just cross-checking to ensure that everything is keyed in order. Just cross-checking to ensure that all the data is imported in the right order. So good. Once everything has been imported, simply say next. Simply say next. Simply say next. So 2 customers are ready to be imported. Of course, I keyed in 2. We have got Emma Njuguna from this company. This is the email. This is the city. Emily Chebet, company Emily Chebet. This there are no email provided, no city provided. So just in case you had provided other details, the same will appear here. Once done, import. Good. So I have two of my customers have been imported. The moment you see that, congratulations. You see QuickBooks giving you a quick dashboard of your customer transactions. So this is the advantage with QuickBooks Online is that it will give you a space where you can always quickly view maybe something like a pending transactions, your unbilled income, your overdue invoices, maybe recent payments that you have made. Of course, it
Excuse
gives
me,
you the
Mwalimu.
summation. Yes.
Mine is not importing, and the email is in red.
The email is in red.
Yes.
Because you have not keyed in email under email. You have keyed in something else. You did not follow the template that was provided.
Which template? How do I go back then? Hi.
Nimepotelea hapo kwa Emmy. Mercy, what happened at Emmy? What happened at Emmy? What happened at Emmy? Mercy, can you unmute? What happened so that I know your problem as well?
It's saying mine.
Yes.
Please enter a valid email or a
Yes.
comma-separated list of emails.
Very good. Enter a valid email. It means that your valid is not email. It means that your email is not valid. The email that you have just keyed in is not valid. All right. The email that you have just keyed in is not valid.
I entered the one you entered. Emma@gmail.
No, I didn't enter that. I entered emma@emma.com.
Oh, okay.
So Mercy, you are stuck after typing the names. Mercy, after typing the names, you are supposed to save that file. You're supposed to save that file, and please just click on File and then Save As. Then maintain everything as it is. Just select the location where you want to save it. From there, move back to QuickBooks, browse, and then import your data. It's very simple. It's very simple. Mercy, are you in a position to share your screen so that we can use yours now that I've but anyway, I can still upload more. So if I'm here, I can still say import customer. So let me just go back to my Excel template. So this is my template. I believe now that everybody is here. This is my template. This is my template. This is my template. So let me just change the list of customers here that I have. So I'm going to change this so that I have another customer. This is now Mercy. This is Mercy Mwangangi. This is Mercy Mwangangi. The company will be Mercy Mwangangi as well. I'm going to retain the same thing. That's going to be the company. I don't have the customer type. Email mwangangi@mwangangi.com. Mwangangi@mwangangi.com. All right. So that's my customer, the first customer. My second customer, this is Kevin Wairimu. This is Kevin Wairimu. The company here is Kevin Wairimu as well. Maybe probably I don't have the email for that person and I don't have any other details. So this is the only detail that I have about this person. So what will I do? I'll simply come to File. Save As, File, Save As. So from here, I will choose the location from where I want to save it. If I want to save it in my downloads, I want to save it in my desktop or wherever I want to save it. Select the location, retain everything as it is, click on Save. So if you choose desktop, this is what I'm saying. Don't change the save as type, please, because you have downloaded this template from QuickBooks, so it means that it is in the order in which QuickBooks requires it to be. So just retain it as it is. Once you're done, hit on Save. Once you're done, hit on Save. If it brings you a pop-up, just click on Continue. From here, let's go back to QuickBooks. I believe you have mastered the location where you have saved your file. It is my belief and assumption you have mastered the location where you have saved your document. Let's move back to QuickBooks. You are here under customers. Just in case you are not here, we went to sales, customers, sales, and then customers, sales, and then customers. If you have not keyed in any list of customers, you will find an option which asks you, import customers. Number 2, enter customers manually. We are importing customers. That is basically what you are trying to look at. Just in case you are already here, if you want to import a new list of customers, come here where you have new customer. Click on the drop-down, say import customers. From here, these are the 3 steps that you need to do. Number 1, upload your list of customers, the CSV or the Excel file that you have. Number 2, map your data. Number 3, import for the final step. Let's carry on. I'm going to browse. Click on browse to select the location where your file is. I'm going to click browse. Where have I stored my file? I have stored my file on my desktop. I'll move to desktop. I will choose on desktop here as my location. Then from here, I will scroll to check on my file. Here it is. It is called QuickBooks Online Customers. I'll click on this. Once done, open. From here, I have already brought my data. What do I do? Down here, hit on next. So I will say next. This is mapping, checking on whatever you have here. It is at this stage that Emma's email was in red. Why? Emma did not key in a valid email address in the email field. Otherwise, if everything is okay, hit on next. Are we all okay to hear before I continue? After typing the names, I'm using my phone, sir. So now, Mercy, hapa kumbe ndio mahali tunapoteleana. Please, if I'm on the other screen, kindly, if you text, I will not see kindly. I will not text if you, I will not see if you text. So please, if you are stuck and you are seeing me continue, just unmute and speak. Just unmute and speak. The only thing that we don't allow is you unmuting and then you don't say anything. That's the only thing that we don't allow. But if you want to ask for assistance, if you see me continuing, kindly unmute and continue. So Mercy, I believe that you are okay. I believe that you are okay. So from here, say next. And then this is just a confirmation of everything that you have keyed in. The last step is to import. So hit on import. Click on import. Click on import. And good, everything is fine. Notice that in this case, we have only used some simple lists of customers. Very good, very good, very good. I can see Emily has also done something here. Very good, very good. So right now, we have only used some simple list of customers. But in your own assumption, make an assumption that you have a huge list of your customers available somewhere. So keying them in one by one will be a challenge. So instead, you are supposed to import them. To make your work easier, simply create an Excel list and then import them. Just in case you want to key them one by one, you'll come here and say new customer. You'll come and say new customer. All the fields will be defined here. You will realize that here you will not have the next moves, a lot of them, as in QuickBooks Desktop. What are you required to key in? Number 1, the title of your customer. What is the title? Mr., Daktari, Professor, Engineer, and so on. First name. Key in the first name of your customer. Middle name, last name, and of course, if you have what? The suffix. All right? So if you come from the other side, you will of course have what here? I am told that they don't have a prefix. I'm told that they have a suffix. I'm told prefix is for those people from Nyanza region. All right? That is where you get Dr. Otieno. That is where you get Engineer Ochien. But when you get to our other side, our other brothers and sisters, you will get Mwangi wa Equity. All right? You will get, I don't know who, Awapi. So for that, it's a suffix. It's not a prefix. All right, on a light note. And then the customer display name, of course, you will select from a list of available lists here. It will display a list of your customers that you want to select their display name. the company name, the email, phone number, and all the details. Of course, these are self-explanatory. Notice that it's not a must that you key in all these details. You only key in the details that you have. Otherwise, everything is fine. Close that. Do you want to live without saving? Yes, I want to live without saving. So that is simply how you key in your customers. Just before we look at conducting customers transactions, let's first of all look at how do we key in our suppliers. Somebody to tell me, from which transaction do suppliers arise? From which transactions do suppliers arise? I mean, from which type of cash flow do suppliers arise? Is it cash inflow or a cash outflow? At what stage do you engage your suppliers? When you have a cash outflow or when you have a cash inflow? Do you engage your suppliers when you have a cash inflow or when you have a cash outflow? At what stage will you engage your suppliers? Is it at cash inflow or at cash outflow? Very good. Cash outflow. In most instances, you will pay your suppliers. Your suppliers will not pay you. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Very good. So you'll be paying your suppliers. So when you pay your suppliers, there are two things. Number one, you can have an expense. Number two, you can have a bill. Once again, we have two issues there. Number one, an expense. Number two, a bill. Somebody to give me the difference between a bill and an expense.
I could try.
Yes, Emma.
I think an expense is when I've charged, and then a bill is when I've not been paid.
An expense is when you've
Is when
charged.
yes. And then
And then
a
a
bill
bill
is when I've not been paid.
when you have not been paid.
I'm only trying.
Thank you for that confirmation that you're only trying. You're right. Kizungu ndio kidogo inapiga chenga hapo, but I know what you have in your mind. I know kizungu iko ndani lakini kutoka kwa mdomo ndio shida, but I know iko. Yes, difference, Mercy. We are looking at the difference. Very good. Very good. I think this is exactly what Emma was talking about. Bill to be paid later. Expense is money paid. So this is what Emma reversed and said, when I have been paid. So Emma, you said when you have paid, not when you have been paid. When you have paid. When you have been paid, it is an income. All right. Good. So a bill is what? You have already a bill is will accumulate and be paid later. For example, you have your person, you have your driver. This driver, you pay him at the end of the month, but he renders service for you throughout the month. Hizo pesa zote for the whole month of driving, if you put them together, and then it's going to be paid at the end of the month, the whole of that amount becomes a bill. But when you travel and then you pay immediately, that is an expense. So bill will be paid later, but expense is money paid. You have electricity bill, you have water bill, and all that. You have maybe, for instance, airtime bill for those who use postpay, not prepay. Kindly prepay akunanga bill. Ni pale kwa postpay ndio kuna bill. So if you use postpay, you'll have a bill and all that. So that is the difference between a bill and an expense. In that line, if you want to key in our suppliers, then where will we go? We'll go to the expenses. We'll go to expenses. We'll go to expenses. From here, we have two things: expenses, suppliers. You move over to suppliers. Move to suppliers. Move to suppliers. Just the same way as we did for customers. The same thing will apply to your suppliers. You can import a list of your suppliers, or you can manually add your suppliers. The same template will work, but ensure you download a template that is related to the suppliers. Why? Here you will have supplier's name, you will not have the customer's name. But QuickBooks will provide you with a template from where you are able to easily and quickly follow up. So everything will be provided. I'm not going to get into much details about entering and keying in your suppliers. That will be self-explanatory. If you want to key in your expenses, you'll simply come here to the expenses tab. Then you can key in your expenses from the expenses tab. From the expenses tab, here you can key in your expenses. You can key in your expenses. One more thing is keying in your items. Keying in your items. Keying in your items. What is that? Sales. Go to sales. Then we have products and services. Sales, then products and services. Sales, and then products and services. Nothing here. So once again, you can add a product or service manually, or alternatively, you can do what? You can import a file of your available products. It is my assumption that probably when migrating to QuickBooks, you have been using a system. You are not starting from zero. Probably you have been using Excel, or you have been using another system. In that system that you have been using, you can always export your data into Excel. Export your data to Excel and then change the information to suit the specific format which QuickBooks needs. Then import everything. That is simply how you go through adding your product and customers into the system. I want to point out how to enter transactions. How to enter transactions. You realize that from the transactions tab, you can only do reconciliation, then you can access your chart of accounts. Let me say something little about the chart of accounts. Please note that the chart of accounts contains the relevant accounts which are affected by a single transaction that you carry out in QuickBooks. I repeat, the chart of accounts contains a list of the accounts or the respective accounts that are affected when you carry out any transaction in QuickBooks. These are categorized into two main. Number one, we have got those accounts that are only available in the income account or the profit and loss statement. Number two, we have those accounts that are only available in the balance sheet. In other words, for the income statement, your chart of accounts will have your different expense lines, and number two, it will have your different income lines. It enables you to track your money in form of income and expenditure, and therefore, you will be able to create different income accounts as well as different expense accounts. The same will happen to your statement of financial position. For your statement of financial position, you have three main areas. Number one, your assets and liabilities, subdivided into long-term assets or the non-current assets, current assets, long-term liabilities, and current liabilities, the main items of your balance sheet. When you get to your income statement, you may recognize your income in, for instance, you have got four main income streams. Let's make an assumption you are a bank. Let's make an assumption you are a bank. If you are a bank, what are the most income line items that you're supposed to have? Number one, savings. Number two, interest on loans. Number three, you are likely to have what we call maybe investment on property. Those can also be your what? Maybe you have incomes from such investments, so they earn you income. So they can be your income. So make an assumption those are your income accounts. What does that mean? Every transaction, if it is an income, will be tracked to that respective account. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, when you move to the chart of accounts, move with me to the chart of accounts, move with me to the chart of accounts, move with me to the chart of accounts. From the chart of accounts, Here, you can't be able to access everything. We have got the name of the account here, the account type, detail type, QuickBooks balance, bank balance, any action required. You can see all the line items here. You have cash and cash equivalents. Its type is cash and cash equivalents. Detail type cash and cash equivalents. Allowance for bad debts being categorized as current asset. Detail type allowance for bad debts. Available for sale assets, which are being termed as short term. They are current assets. Assets available for sale. Inventory, a current asset. Inventory asset, current asset. Prepaid expenses, current asset. Uncategorized asset, current assets. Accumulated depreciation on property, plant, and equipment, fixed asset. Property, plant, and equipment, fixed asset. Asset held for sale, non-current asset, and all that. If you move down, we have got the income line items. Billable expense income, it's an income. Revenue general, it's an income. Sales from retail, income. Sales from wholesale, income, and all that. Just in case you see an account here that you think is not properly mapped, note that these are system accounts. What is the implication of that? You cannot be able to edit them. So what do? Key in your own right account. For example, if we move down to the expenses, let's move down to expenses. Let's move down to expenses. If you look at the expenses, if we look at the expenses, if we look at the expense lines, wage expense, utilities, and categorized expense, travel, supplies, stationery, and all this. So if you look at them, for example, you don't find anything here like what? Like rent, for example. Yes. You don't find anything here like what? Like rent. You don't find anything here like rent. So what do you want to do? You want to create an expense line for rent. Maybe that's an account that you have. So you want to create that expense line. What do? Come to new. New. Just click on new. Don't import. Say new. And then here you are. New. And then here you are. So what is your account type? Is it a current asset? Is it a cash and cash equivalent? Is it a fixed asset? Or what is your account type? Is it an expense or what is it? We want to create what? We want to create rent. Rent is an expense. So I will say expenses. So how do you categorize your rent? Do you categorize that? Do you categorize it as expense or do you categorize it as other expenses? Let me categorize it as expenses. I will key in that. Then here we have the detail type. We have the detail type. Click on the drop down. When you click on the drop down, you will have all your detail types here. When you click on the drop down, you will have all the detail types here. Amortization expense, advertising or promotional, bank charges, dues and subscriptions, finance costs, insurance, interest paid, meals, payroll. It's here. Rent or lease of buildings. This way it should be. Rent or lease of buildings. Then you will have this as your name. Then another description, you'll simply say what? Rent, for example. Another description, you can say rent, for example. So please know that if you want to make this a sub-account of something, you'll make it a sub-account. Now, let me explain on this sub-account. Sometimes you may want to, like, for example, when you are preparing your income statement, let's say, for example, you have something like, maybe, for example, fuel. You have something like what? Like fuel. You fuel at different places. Or maybe you have branches. Very good. You have what? You have branches. If you have branches and there are vehicles or cars available in all those branches, at the end of the month, you want to track how much of fuel did this specific branch use? How much of fuel did this specific branch use? And how much of fuel did this other branch use? What are you going to do here? You are going to create an account for fuel Mlolongo branch, fuel Kakamega branch, and fuel Bungoma branch. Notice that your main account in this case is fuel. But when you create fuel Kakamega branch, it will be a sub account of what? It will be a sub account of fuel from here. It will be a sub account of fuel from this list. The moment you have a list of fuel, you will have and come and say here that it is a sub account of what? It's a sub account of fuel. You create fuel Mulolongo, it will be a sub account of fuel. What is the implication of this? At the end of the day, once you have created your transactions, when analyzing your financial statements, you will of course generate a single financial statement. What will be the name of this financial statement or the name of this expense line? It will be fuel. But note, you can drill down and be able to see fuel from different branches. I will show you how to generate those reports that you can be able to drill down. For now, we're not creating a sub account of anything. So we're going to leave that as it is, save and close. Leave that as it is, and then save and close. Leave it as it is, and then you save and close. 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 So here you can see we have an expense line for rent or lease of buildings. Of course, I'm having two because somebody was also doing the same transaction as I was doing. That's why you are seeing I'm having two. So now you can you have a specific expense line for rent. Now, let me give you an example of what I was saying. Let me give you an example of what I was saying. Now we have got rent or lease of buildings. Let's add one more. So I'm going to say new. I'm going to say new. An expense. Type is still going to be rent. Type is still going to be rent. Rent or lease of buildings. The name, here I will call it, for example, rent Kakamega. For example, rent Kakamega. I do the same, rent Kakamega, rent Kakamega, rent Kakamega. And then here, I will make it is a sub account. So I will check on this box, it's a sub account. I will check on this box, it's a sub account. Then what do? I select the sub account that this is. So this is a sub account for our main expense line, which is rent. Our main expense line in this case is rent. So where is rent here? Check for your list, check where you have rent. Check where you have rent. Yes, here I have it. Rent or lease of buildings. I'll check on this. So it is a sub account of rent or lease of buildings. Once I'm done, I will say save and close. 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 So when I scroll down, down. Now look at this. Look at this. Here I have rent or lease payments, and then below it, rent or lease payments. Rent or lease of payments. Of course, this is the one that is for what? I don't know, somebody keyed in the wrong one here. This is mine. I have rent or lease of buildings and then rent Kakamega. So the moment you see this indented, it means that it's a sub account of this. I think I mentioned this the other day. If you see it indented, it is a sub account of the main account above it. So when keying in my expenses, at the end of the day, I'll be able to track what is my general rent. My general rent may be an amount of 10 million. Then from there, I can drill down. What is rent from Kakamega branch? What is rent from Bungoma branch? What is rent from Kitengela branch? So that's basically the benefit of this. That's the advantage of having this. So very simply, how you can create an account. Let's say, for example, you want to create an account for what? For motor vehicle. You want to create an account for motor vehicle as your fixed asset. You want to create an account for motor vehicle as your fixed asset. You simply come and say new. You simply come and say new. You simply come and say new. Account type will be fixed assets, non-current assets. They just one and the same thing. So you'll just choose any non-current assets. Detail type. Detail type. Detail type. Here you will have other non-current asset. You'll have other non-current asset, or if anything available here that describes your asset, you can key it in. So I'll have other non-current assets. Name, I will have motor vehicle. Name, I will have motor vehicle. Description, motor vehicle. Description, motor vehicle. Maybe Subaru. So the balance maybe 2 million. Maybe 2 million. As of this date, I will save and close. So from there, I now have a fixed asset of what? Of motor vehicle. I now have a fixed asset of motor vehicle, and here it is. I have motor vehicle, non-current asset. It's other current asset, and this is its value, 2 million. So this is a QuickBooks balance of 2 million. That's the balance of 2 million. That was basically showing you how you can be able to edit your what? Your chart of accounts. That's simply how you can be able to edit your what? Your chart of accounts. That is how you can be able to edit your chart of accounts. Next, let's look at how we carry out customer transactions. Before then, let's confirm if we are together with you in this journey. Are we together? Are we together? Are we together? Can we delete the customers and suppliers? Very good, Catherine. Can we delete the customers and suppliers? Let's move together. I'll just take you back to QuickBooks. This is something that we need not to struggle with. I'll go to my customers list. These are my customers. Let's say, for example, this customer here, I'll go here to actions. I'll go to actions. If you go to actions, Catherine, you realize that you have no option to delete. So just in case you feel like, well, this customer is supposed to be here. This customer has ceased to operate with me. This customer is no longer working with me. What do? You make the customer inactive. So select the option, make inactive. Make inactive. Are you sure you want to make I inactive? Yes, I am very sure. Make inactive. And from there, I is not there. From there, I is not there. So that is how you delete your customers. So if you want to delete, simply put them as inactive. If you want to delete, simply put them as inactive, but you don't totally delete them. You don't
Excuse
totally.
me.
Yes.
Where have you gone to make them inactive?
All right. Let me check if there is another corresponding question. All right, none. So to make them inactive, go back to your customer center. Of course, iko hapa kwa sales and then customers. And then from here, select on the customer that you want to make inactive. For example, Masi Mwangangi. Let's say, for example, you want to make Masi Mwangangi inactive. Go to Masi Mwangangi and then come and click on this drop down here. Hapa mwisho, this drop down. Click on it, then make inactive. Click on it and then make inactive.
Okay, thank you.
Good. All right. Let's move to customer transactions. Let's move to customer transactions. How do you carry out transactions with your customers with respect to QuickBooks Online? For that, I'll move to sales. And then you can make different types of transactions. Number one, we have customers. So go to customers. From customers, you select a specific customer. For instance, Aflin Onyando. I click on the drop down. Here is a list of transactions that I can do with this customer. Number one, I can create a sales receipt. Number two, I can create estimate. Number three, I can create charge, create time activity, and create statement. Create time activity and create statement. Those are the different types of transactions that I can be able to do with this customer. But don't forget that there is an invoice here. I can create an invoice for this customer. So the create invoice, this is the first type of transaction. From here, I have more here that I can be able to do. You move to products and services. All right, allow me to add one product so that we see what we can do. So click products and services, still under sales. Don't mind, still under sales. Don't struggle. Still under sales. Just move to products and services and then say add a product or service. Add a product or service. Add a product or service. From here, you will choose what type of product are you adding. Are you adding an inventory, service, a bundle, or an inventory type? Inventory type is not active. The first thing that we need to do is to activate the inventory type. I will do that. Turn on inventory tracking. There is that note here. Turn on inventory tracking. I'll click on that. It says you are about to turn on inventory tracking in QuickBooks Online, which uses FIFO, which means first in, first out, as its inventory costing method. Turning this on will affect your QuickBooks. If you are unsure, we recommend you talk to a tax expert. No, I'm sure. Turn on. And now our inventory part is activated. Let's say I want to enter an item, which is inventory. So I will click inventory. From here, I'll key in the name of the item. I'll key in the name of the item. Now, what item is this? All right. I like soda. Soda. That's the name of the item. Soda. Category. If you have the category, you'll key in. If not, you just leave. The most important ones are the ones that are in asterisks. The ones that are in asterisks are the ones that you can key in. You can see here, if you want to attach a photo of the soda, you can do. So let's make an assumption. I attach a photo of the soda. So I just click on this. I'll just select any random picture here to represent the soda. Any random picture here to represent the soda. Say, for example, it's this. All right. So that's the picture that is representing the soda. Don't worry about it. So that's my picture representing the soda. And then initial quantity on hand. Maybe I have 50 of them. As of what date? As of today. Reorder point, if you have, you key in. I'm not going to explain that because you already covered that. What is the other important thing? The sales price. The sales price. At what price am I selling? I'm selling maybe at 50 bob. Income account, it should go to the sales account. Cost, I buy it at 40. Income account, it should go to the cost of sales. For instance, if I have my preferred supplier key in that, for now, everything is okay. I'll save and close. I'll save and close. So here I have my inventory. Here I have my inventory, which is soda. You can see just before soda, there is the image of soda attached because I added the soda image. So I have the image of the soda attached. Good. What can you do here? Number one, you can edit. Apart from editing, you click on the drop down, you find everything that you can do. Number one, you can duplicate it. You can adjust quantity and you can adjust starting value. Otherwise, you can make it inactive, the same option as deleting. That is how you enter your items. Next is with respect to who? To expenses. That is transactions related to your suppliers. For transactions related to your suppliers, you're supposed to go to expenses. Come to expenses. You come to expenses. No expenses found. No expenses found. What does QuickBook tell you? It tells you record your spending, enter transactions, bills, and payments to get an in-depth view of your expense. Good. I'll come and say new transaction. I will come and say new transaction. This will involve all transactions that you can do with your supplier. This is where you have bills. This is where you have expense. This is where you have writing a check to your supplier. This is where you have supplier credit. This is where you have the purchase order. And you can also as well import bills. All right. For instance, you create a purchase order. So you will say purchase order, for instance. You will say purchase order. And from here, you will enter the details of your purchase order. From here, you will enter the details of your purchase order. Number 1, choose the supplier to whom you are sending the purchase order. I don't have any supplier. I don't mind adding because everything is right. So just showing how you go about it. So from here, you will of course come in and key in the details of the items or the products that you are selling to this supplier against which you are making the purchase order. Remember, a purchase order is to refill your stock. That is simply how you go through matters, transactions. Finally, is VAT. Of course, you can see VAT is here. You can see VAT is here. Simply come straight away to VAT. Simply come straight away to VAT. You simply move to VAT. Simply smarter tax filing. All right, QuickBooks makes it easy to manage tax, so you know what you owe and when to pay it. Setup is simple, and smart automation means you'll be ready to file in on time. So these are what you will be required to do. What do? I go to setup VAT. I go and say setup VAT. Setup VAT. So setup. Let's set you up with the right tax codes for Kenya. All right, it's good. So I'll say next. Agency is Kenya Revenue Authority. So it's already defined here. The moment you had keyed in your country, that your country is Kenya, you'll of course have the country as Kenya. You will have the country as Kenya. Now this way I have a problem. I'm not sure if the pin will pick anything, but let me try that. Say next. Good. So it says you are ready to track tax. First, you will need to set up tax rates specific to your country. We've created a video below that should help you get started. Visit the sales tax page whenever you want to do that. So just in case you don't know how to go about tax, you will go through this video that will help you on how you can be able to do what? To track tax. Just in case you lose this video, never mind. You can go to YouTube, search for QuickBooks QuickBooks Online Sales Tax Tracking. You'll get a video recorded there that will guide you on how to set up the sales tax. That's fine. I'll just click OK. It says you are all set up with sales tax. Give it a try by customizing an invoice. Let me say customize invoice. So this is my invoice, of course, is in the standard version. So I can edit it. I can edit my invoice. Of course, you see how the invoice will look like. So if the amount is maybe, for instance, 675, there is VAT of 90. There is VAT of 90. And then there is also another tax here of 11.25. So totaling to 776. So here you can, of course, edit your VAT. That is basically customizing your VAT. So number 1 is in terms of the design. We have, if you want to add your unique logo, you will add your logo here so that it appears on your invoice. I add Apple. Splash on some color. So if this is not your organizational color, you want to change the colors, you can, of course, choose your colors here. So I believe as you choose the colors, you see the difference in your invoice. So hapa utachagua rangi ya kampuni yako, right? You can see how your invoice is changing to match that. So you can always customize them as you want. All right, so that's how you customize that. So get used with your font. Of course, you'll be able to add your font. So that is the design. You have the content. If you want to edit the content, you of course can change this. You can change this. So if you don't want this to be at the footer, you will of course just drag it up and maybe you place it there. if you want it to be at the top. But anyway, you can as well edit it. When you click on this pen like, you can edit it so that here you can key in maybe your message to customer, you have your payment details, the tax. So you can see here the tax summary is the one that is checked. If you don't want the tax summary, unaweza itoa, all right? Simply by doing that so that the tax summary is not available here. I hope you are noting the changes as you do the editing. If you want the tax summary, you can check it. Ndio hii inakuja hapa chini. Any discounts applied, you check on the discounts thing. Here you will find your discount applied. Here, for example, discount of 2%, the amount is there. So if you want to show if you have applied any discount to it, you'll of course key in. So here you just key in whatever that you are interested in keying in. All right. You can also edit this. You can also edit this. So these are the most things that are available there. If you want to remove any, you can always remove. Let's say, for example, you don't want to include this tax here. You don't want to include this tax here. So what do? You simply uncheck on this tax. That will be removed from here. You don't want this activity here. You simply come here and where is the activity? It's the description. No, not the description. Yeah, you simply uncheck on that. The product or service, you simply uncheck on the product or service. But basically, that is the name of the item. Only that this is giving an example. So just check that to check it. So that's the item name is available, and then you have emails if you want to show that. So you can always customize these invoices as you want. You can always customize the invoices as you want. So that with that now you have now set up your tax. You have now set up your tax. Now, one more thing that I want to show you here. One more thing that I want to show you here is how to track your income based on your different business locations. For those who have different business locations or you have different business branches, you want to track your income based on that. Or maybe you have got different businesses that you keep track of, and therefore you want to manage all of them together. How do you then do that? Before then, it's been 1 hour, 30 minutes of full talking and action. You can have a rest of 2 minutes, then we pick up from there. We start up on location. Thank you. All right. We have exhausted our 2 minutes. We have exhausted our 2 minutes. All right. So, confirm if you're back. Confirm if you are back. Confirm if you are back. Confirm if you are back. Utapata tu kuna mtu ameenda kupika sasa. Utapata tu kuna mtu ameenda kupika. And we are here. All right. Okay. All right. I was thinking Emma alienda kupika, kumbe she is there. Very good. Thank you. Where is Emily? All right. Emily is also in. All right. Mike ndiye anatoka kuchungulia lineup ya Manu, ndiye anarudi. All right. Great. So where are these other people now? Are they taking supper? Are they cooking? Ama wameshaingia hall, wako na earphones kwa masikio. Where are they now? Where are these other people now? But anyway, we can continue. We have achieved the majority. So we can now continue. So simply put, what I wanted to show you was simply tracking your locations. Let's move over to QuickBooks. Now, if you want to track your location, you'll go to settings. From settings, here you'll have everything. Number one, you have your company settings, where you can do account and settings, manage users, custom form styles, chart of accounts, and additional information. Now, if you want to edit your receipts, you want to edit your purchase orders. Yes.
Where is the settings?
Ooh. Kama unatumianga smartphone, unajua icon ya settings. Hautapata mahali imeandikwa settings, it's an icon. Ndio hii hapa juu. Don't make your life tough. Here it is. Just beside this bell here, we have settings here. So click on that settings. Are we okay?
Yes.
All right. So you come here to settings. Then I was just saying that number one is your company settings. You have got settings for your lists, setting for tools, and settings for regarding your profile. Now, you have got your company, and here you have got account and settings. You have manage users. So I think from there, tunashikanisha rada. You know how to create users and give user rights. So I hope somebody will not ask me how to do that. Custom form styles, what we have just done. Just in case you don't know how to navigate back there, you come here, custom form styles. Here, you can change the style for your invoices. You can change the color for your invoices. You can change the font size for your invoices. You can add logos to your invoices and all that. Your forms. So forms are your documents that you use. They are your receipts, your invoices, your purchase orders, your sales orders, and all those other documents. Chart of accounts, and any other additional information. Lists, all lists, this regards everything that you have within your system, products and service lists, recurring transactions, attachments. Attachments is in zile mapicha. Like for example, you saw when I added product soda, I attached a photo. These are what we call attachments. For example, you are entering, like for instance, creating an invoice for a supplier. You are creating an invoice for a supplier, or you are creating an invoice for a customer. What will you attach to this invoice? You will attach, for example, a sales order. You will attach a sales order document. That is an attachment. Custom fields, if you want to edit the different fields, you have got setting up rules and then tools, import data, export data, reconciliation, budgeting, audit log. Smaller. And then, of course, for the profile, we have privacy, subscriptions, and billing, and all that. Now, what you want to do right now for locations, first of all, we need to enable our system to be able to track our income and expenditure based on location. Go to account and settings. 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 From here, number one is the company settings. So just in case there is something that you didn't key in well, you will do the editing here. The company name, the legal name, business ID number, the company type, contact information, address information, and then communications with what? With Intuit. Intuit is QuickBooks. So that is company settings. We have got sales settings here. From sales settings, you can customize way forms look like. All right. Sales form content. What should you put in your in the content of your details? Of course, if you want to do editing, you cannot do it here directly. So what do you need to do? You simply need to come to this edit tab here. Let me show you. Sorry. It's taking a lot of time. Cancel. You come to this edit tab here. This edit like this pencil like icon here. Payment instructions. Contact RCM class to pay. Of course, RCM class is the name of the organization. So remember, this one will print on your invoice. This one will print on your invoice. Products and services. You will do all that. Messages, reminders, statements, and all that. All right. We have got expense settings related to your expenses. So just in case you realize once again that you cannot use purchase orders, you go to suppliers and you don't have the option for creating purchase orders. It means that it is off here. So you come and turn it on here. So don't get stuck at some point that your system is not doing purchase orders. You just go to settings. We have time. If you want to do time settings, and then of course, whatever we need is at the advanced settings, advanced settings, advanced settings, advanced settings. Sometimes you use like, for example, the items that you sell within your store. You use a specific code for those items. As well, your customers also you use maybe specific codes. Like for example, if you have accounts like, for example, an account like maybe an M-Pesa account, that account you track it maybe by the code 100. So if your system doesn't allow you to key in such codes, you just come here, chart of accounts, enable account numbers, you come to edit, and then you turn it on to enable account numbers. Do you want to show account numbers in your chart of accounts? If yes, check on this option here, show account numbers. Are we familiar with account numbers? Are we familiar with account numbers? Let me confirm from there first before I continue. Are we familiar with account numbers? Whatever I'm talking about as account numbers, are we familiar with it? All right, thank you, Samuel. Good.
No.
All right, thank you. Account numbers. Let's say, for example, you are selling different items. And let me speak specifically maybe about item categories. Okay, item categories. Within your store, you have different categories of items. I will give an example of two categories. Number one, furniture. That's category number one. Number two, electronics. That's category number two. Let's make an assumption that furniture is denoted by the category, or data is denoted by the code 1. So if you see code 1, that is furniture. If you see code 2, that is electronics. I hope you are together up to that point. Code 1, furniture. Code 2, electronics. That is simply for ease of navigation. Now, what happens? Under furniture, you also have other items. Like, for example, under furniture, you have chairs and you have tables. Code 1 is for furniture. Now, you again subdivide this furniture using different codes. So for tables, you give it the code 010 or maybe 100. Chairs, you give it the code 101. Other furniture, maybe something like maybe some things like maybe the wardrobes, you give it the code 102. So the moment you see a code starting with 1, that denotes furniture. So kama unataka kitu to do with electronics, unatoka hapo mbio. Unaenda huko chini mahali kuna 2. Because 2 is what denotes electronics. Under electronics, let's say you have woofer, you have TV, you have sockets, maybe you have bulbs and all that. Now, electronics is denoted generally by code 2. So anything under electronics lazima ianze na code 2. Now, bulbs umeipatia code 200. Extensions 201. Woofer 203. TV 204. Sijui kama unashikanisha. That is what we mean by code. That is what we mean by code. So if you want to use such codes, then you activate it from there. Because by default, you will not find them active in QuickBooks. So you need to, first of all, activate the use of codes. Did you get the concept of what codes are? Did you get what codes are now? Are you now familiar with codes? Very good. So to activate it, you simply come here and say yes if you want to use it. This is specifically what we want. Categories, track classes, and number 2, track locations. Track classes and track locations. Turn this on. You have unsaved changes. Do you want to save changes before switching sections? Yes. And then now this, track classes and track locations. So I will check both of them. I will check both of them. Then I say save. I will check both of them. Then I say save. Then I say save. Then I say save. So that's okay. I'll just say done. I will just say done. That's okay. I will simply say done. I'll simply say done. Now move back to settings. Move back to settings. Move back to settings. Move back to settings. And then come to all lists. Settings and then all lists. Settings and then all lists. Settings and then all lists. So from here, you can find all your lists. You have got your chart of accounts, recurring transactions, products and services, product categories. You can custom form styles, custom fields, tags, attachments, stamps, and then you also have the payment. You also have the payment methods. You also have the payment methods. So what we simply need here is like, for instance, if you go to product categories, you can see that there are no categories. There are no categories. So if you want to add a product category, you can simply add from there. Here we have an option for new category. So add a category for products, like for example, add 2 categories. The first category is furniture. The second category is electronics. Add that. Let me see if this person has entered the categories. None here. I hope somebody is using this. I hope somebody is using this. I hope somebody is using this. Yeah. Somebody is not doing something here. Somebody is not doing something here. Have you keyed in the categories? Maybe I'm using my system alone. Have you keyed in the categories? 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 All right. Emma has entered the categories. Very good. Mercy has not yet. Mercy, please finish up. Finish up. Finish up. All right. Very good, very good, very good. Tunafanyaje? Max Miller, just go to lists here. Just go to lists here. We have lists, and then you have product categories. Product categories. Then you say new category. Then you say new category. What is the name? For example, electronics. Electronics is the category. Then you say save. Electronics is the category. Then you say save. So now you have a specific product category, so that now when entering your products, you are able to key in a specific, like for example, you are entering bulbs. You can say that that's the item category is what? Is electronics. So that at the end of the day, you're able to track your profit by what? By category. You're able to track your profit and expense by what? By item category. You're able to track your profit and expense by item category. Now, for your locations, if you have different branches, once you have activated the location icon from the other side, move back to settings, then go to all lists. Settings, and then all lists. Settings, and then all lists. Scroll down just from product categories. Here there's an option for locations. You'll find it here. Settings, all lists, and then locations. Come to locations. Come to locations. Right now, you have none. You have no location. So what do? I add new. So what is the name of this location? For example, Kitengela branch, for example, is the name of my location, Kitengela branch. So is it a sub-location of another location? If yes, I check here. This location has a different title for sales form. If yes, I'll check. This location has different company name when communicating with customers. This location has a different address when customers contact me or send payments. This location has a different email address for communicating with customers. This location has a different phone number when customers phone me. So you will check on any relevant options here. You will check on any relevant options here. For now, I'm just going to leave this as it is. So let's make an assumption. For example, you say that maybe this location has a different email address for communicating with customers. If you check this option, you should be able to indicate that email. So what is that email? For example, it is rcmclass@kitengela.com. rcmclass@kitengela.com. So that is the specific email that customers use. Okay. This location has different phone number. What is the phone number that they use? You'll key in that. Otherwise, if everything is okay, say save. If everything is okay, say save. Very good. So we have got two locations here, Kitengela branch, and then Westlands branch. You have Kitengela branch, and then you have Westlands branch. So that now, just in case you come back to your chart of accounts, when you now come back to your chart of accounts, so transactions, chart of accounts, transactions, and then chart of accounts. So let's get back to our chart of accounts. We'll do one more thing here before we break. Go back to the chart of accounts. Go back to the chart of accounts. Go back to the chart of accounts. It is transactions, chart of accounts. Transactions, chart of accounts. Let's say, for example, we want to add a new. We want to add a new chart of account. We want to add a new chart of account. Say new. 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 Say new. So from here, we choose the account type. All right, there's something that is not here. Hold on, hold on. Hold on first. All right. Let me try recording an expense. Just a minute. Something is not working right here. Let me try recording an expense. New transaction, an expense. All right. So this is basically what I wanted to show you. So if you want to record transactions now, like let's say, for example, your branch has reported their statement. So what do you do to your system? You simply key in their expenses. Like, for example, if you want to record an expense for the branch, come to expenses, then say new transaction. Expense, expenses, new transaction. Then let's, for example, record an expense. Let's record an expense. Let's record an expense. I hope that you have set your branch. So from here, we have the payee. So who are you paying? This is now your supplier. This is your supplier. Let's say, for example, we are paying Aflin Onyando. We are paying Aflin Onyando. We are paying Aflin Onyando. Payment account, this is more of your bank account, right? This is more of your bank account that you are using. So, well, let's use the cash and cash equivalents, though it has a balance of 0. Payment method, reference number. So here, you should be able to specify your location. So if this expense is incurred from a location, here you come and specify the location here. So here I have Kitengela branch and I have Westlands branch. If you want to add, if the branch is not here, you just say new. So I will specify this expense is from Kitengela branch. This expense is from Kitengela branch. This expense is from Kitengela branch. So the category
is not showing.
What is yours not showing?
The location, and I've filled the Kitengela and Westlands.
Kitengela and Westlands. But it is not showing location.
Yes.
You have not activated. Please come back to settings. Go back to settings. Sorry, just a minute. Let's close this. And then go to settings here. Account and settings. Settings, account and settings. Go to advanced. Move down here. And then under location, where is it? Under categories, track classes and track locations. Make sure that location is turned on.
Mwalimu, you're very fast.
I am very fast.
Yes.
I thought I was repeating.
I got
All right, sorry. Go to settings.
Yes.
Account and
I'm
settings.
there.
All right. Advanced.
Mm-hmm.
And then scroll down to categories. Categories.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure
I
that
scroll
track
down
locations
to
is turned on. Categories.
advanced. Okay, categories, track
Make sure
classes,
track
and track
locations.
on. Yeah, they are on.
Both location and classes.
Yes.
Try turning off classes. Just click on this pen like icon and then you turn off track classes. Then you say save.
I turn it off. Then save.
So rudi sasa huko. Go back to expenses. Then expenses.
I close this one.
Ukisha click on save ufunge hiyo.
Expenses, new transaction.
Yeah. Expense.
Expense.
So do you now have location here?
It's still not showing.
It's still not showing.
I don't know why.
There's something that you are not doing right. It must be there.
Oh, I didn't save.
Probably. It must be there. If you have turned it on, it must be there. Anyone else who is having the same problem? Anybody who is having the same problem? Mercy, you also don't have it. Anyone else? And let me know if you are using a phone. Am I using a phone?
No.
Okay.
Mine too is not
Anybody
showing.
who is also, who is this?
Maximilian.
Oh, yours is also not showing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Somebody else whose location is not showing? Anybody else whose location is not showing? From both of you, who can share their screen? Either Max Miller or Emma, who can share their screen?
Let me share.
Okay. Right. You can share.
So go to settings.
Account and settings. All right. Just click on save. Close that. Close that small window. Okay, go to expenses. Expense. Si ndio hiyo.
This one.
Si ndio hiyo location naona, yes. When you click on the drop down, now you have not just keyed in your list of locations. Just click on add or add new. Click on add new. Add new.
Where?
Nimeiona. Click hapo kwa drop down. Ndio hiyo add new. Right? Just key in the name of the location. Then you save. Something is not quite right. Another location is already using this name. Please use a different name. name, Kitengela branch. So I don't know if you people are sharing accounts. So just change the name. Maybe you say Kitengela 1 branch, for example, Kitengela 1 branch, just to make it unique. Just add one beside Kitengela so that you avoid retyping again. All right. That's okay. Yangu pia giving me the same. Yet I used Eldoret branch. Please just edit the name a little bit. Just edit the name a little bit, and everything will be okay. So from here, you just now key in the specific details of your expense line. Then of course, once you pay, at the end of the day, you'll be able to track your expenses by class. You'll be able to track your expenses by location. You'll be able to track your expenses by what? By location. So for example, if it is rent that you paid under category, uta select up rent. So under category, you just click on that. Then from the drop down, you select on, for example, rent, if it was a bad debt, if it was a subscription, and anything else that you might have incurred. If it was maybe a meals, it was an office expense, so all that, then you key in the amount. So the description, you can say maybe office expenses for the month of June, for example, and then you key in the amount that was incurred. You key in the amount that was incurred. So once you're done, you hit everything, and then now in our last session, I will show you how you can be able to track your income and expenses based on your different locations. And ladies and gentlemen, I have consumed 10 minutes of your time. Apologies for that, and I beg we stop at that point. We meet tomorrow for our last session. We meet tomorrow for our last session. So I will share with you an assignment that you should do. And in fact, let me not even share an assignment. This is your assignment. This is your assignment. Record different income and expenditure lines. Record different income and expenditure lines for so record 5 income and 5 expenditure lines. Record 5 income and 5 expenditure lines for 5 business locations, not 5 but 3. Record 5 income lines and 5 expenditure lines for 3 business locations. What do I mean? This is what I mean. Make sure that you have 3 locations within your system. And then from there, record for your first location, you'll record 5 expenses for that specific location. As well, record 5 incomes for that specific location. Go to the second location, record 5 income, record 5
again.
Expenses.
Come again.
The third,
We have
I said, number 1. Can you get me?
Yes, kindly come again.
All right. So number 1, I said that make sure that you have 3 branches in your system. Have 3 branches in your system. After the 3 branches, number 1, record 5 incomes for each branch and 5 expenses for each branch. That is what I mean. Have 3 branches.
Locations.
Yes, branches is the same as locations.
Thank you.
All right. So have 3 branches, record 5 expenses for each branch and 3 incomes for each branch. I will encourage you to first of all record incomes so that you find something that you can use to pay your expenses. First of all, record incomes so that you find something to use to pay your expenses. Note that you are using QuickBooks Online, not desktop. Use QuickBooks Online, not desktop. Good. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a blessed evening, and we meet tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Excuse me, Mwalimu.
Yes,
Excuse me.
who is this now? Yes, Kay.
Barasa. I missed
yes.
yesterday class.
All right.
Even today's class I missed. I joined the last few minutes. Immediately you came back after break. And
Okay.
then even tomorrow I'm planning to miss tomorrow's class. So my concern was,
Yeah.
are you immediately after you are done with tomorrow's class, are you planning to delete all the recorded videos immediately you are done with tomorrow's class?
I'm not able, or rather, I'm not in a position to answer that. Please kindly reach out to our operations or the person in charge of Zoom, that is Frank.
Who?
Either operations or Frank. I hope you have the contact. The contact for operation is the one that 071515. Let me just confirm the number.
Okay. I'll liaise with them tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
You have the number, eh?
I'll check from the group.
All right. So
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Or you could
Let me
give
just
us the
confirm for
number.
you the number. It's 0715 55 55 66. 15 55 55 66. So kindly, that number is only for confirming if the videos will be deleted or they will be on LMS. You contact Frank. For registration on LMS, you contact Frank. So Max Miller. All right. Thank you guys. Let's stop it at that point, and we meet tomorrow. Bye bye.